I can resist no longer. I shall tell you the truth. The truth is... Oh, that outfit really isn't working for you. Oh, and magic isn't either. Call me Double Trouble.
You're a shapeshifter.
Hello everyone, I didn't see you there. Today we're going to be doing a really fun video where I basically recommend books to all the She-Ra characters in the new She-Ra one. I haven't seen the old one really, and I don't really plan to as of right now. And I have dressed up as Double Trouble because they're the only like really non-binary character in She-Ra, and I just deeply relate to Double Trouble. Like, they're theatrical, they're over the top, they act like they don't have feelings, but I think if I like didn't have such strong emotional feelings like I do now, the way I see myself is very much Double Trouble, which I know is a bit conceited, but Double Trouble. So where are we gonna start? Comment down below if you agree or disagree on any of these picks. Of course, I'm gonna start with Double Trouble, and they talk kind of like this all the time. I think so. Okay, so the first one I'm gonna recommend to Double Trouble is Sissy, a coming of gender story by Jacob Tobiah. And obviously Jacob is the voice of Double Trouble in the series, and I think Double Trouble would really like to hear their own voice on audiobook all the time. I think they're so self-centered and they love themselves, but they also just kind of don't really want to be in anyone else's business unless it's like drama. Not only a story about like gender, but yeah, hearing their own voice, I feel like Double Trouble really appreciate that. And then I'm also going to recommend Down Days by Ilse Hugo. So this is a futuristic pandemic dystopian story that takes place in a country that's kind of similar to South Africa. And I recommend this book because it's very much these mysteries and underground plots, and there is some magical realism, but you don't know that it's magical realism. And I feel like Double Trouble really liked this one because of the mystery element, but also because there are so many like different characters who all have these like different plots and storylines that weave together. And I can imagine Double Trouble reading this, imagining themselves like transforming into all the different characters and like putting themselves into this plot and like messing everything up as they do, and like spying for many sides. And I feel like I can see Double Trouble in this story as well as really enjoying this story because they're gonna see themselves in the story. Yes, that's how self-obsessed and self-centered they are, which is just another reason why I love Double Trouble. Then I'm gonna recommend two books to Adora, our main love little character. The first one is War Girls by Tochi Onyebuchi. So I recommend this one because there is a war scenario, and I think because Adora is like the chosen one. She's like thrust into this whole plot of having to be the hero all the time, having to be the bigger person, and being chosen for that role. I think it would help her to see this other scenario where like that isn't exactly the case, and reading about experiences that are like similar to her own in this war thing, and seeing a war as something that isn't exactly two sides, but just two different interpretations or opinions, and there's no bad or good in a way. And I think that would help Adora like deal with her problems and her denial about the fact that she is chosen one for this war. And on top of that, I feel like she would really enjoy the romance in this because there is a girl and girl romance, and spoiler alert, she's gay. So I feel like she would really like this, and like the friendships that are created in this war scenario is something that Adora can really relate to. Another one that I really think she'd like is Feminism Interrupted, and I think Adora would really like this one because it talks about feminism as justice work for everyone. And Adora really does have this like saving all mindset. Like, she really wants to help everybody in all the different ways, and she does get exhausted with it, but I think something like this would really help her like assert her power and stand by everyone and have like the arguments to back it up. Oh my god, am I creating scenarios for these characters? I love this. The next character I also have a couple of books for, Perfuma. So Perfuma, she has this flower power. Literally, she can make things bloom. She's very like hippy dippy and peaceful and lovely, and we love her. She wants everyone to be like friends, and she doesn't like fighting that much. So I thought I would recommend her The Seep by Chena Porter. So this is like about the society that the Seep, this alien entity, comes into the society and makes everything like a utopia. And I think she would really like Perfuma would really like seeing this utopian society, but also be able to see like the perspective of our main character Trina, who struggles with that concept, and kind of give Perfuma like a different perspective, maybe from her own. The other one is Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. So I absolutely could not resist to recommend this one for Perfuma, because this is like a love letter to nature. It's a nonfiction where Kimmer uses like all her indigenous wisdom to talk about how we can learn from plants and the beauty of them. And I think like Perfuma would just devour and absorb every single part of this, and would just love to hear a perspective that's similar to how she sees the world, and also learn about the plants that she can grow. The next person that I have to recommend 2 books to is Seahawk. So Seahawk is this over-the-top, acts confident, but it just really wants to be part of the group, just really wants the attention, and he's supposed to be the sea captain, but he's like sunk many ships, and that's what he's famous for. But he's also like very like, let's fight the fight, and he like poses in all these different poses, and he's so obsessed with Mermista. So I recommend Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Castell. This is like a swashbuckling fantasy. It's about the friendship between these 3 bros, and I just really think he would love all the action, all the drama and spectacles of it. And on top of that, I would also recommend The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch, for the same reasons that it's like a little bit criminal, but that there's also this friendship, because I think he would really appreciate being part of something special, which the friendship between these 2 really are. And in the second book, they go out to sea on a ship, which just that one in particular, I think he would really enjoy. But I also think it would challenge him, both of these, to feel like a bit of deeper emotions and be open to like embracing those, because these 2 are both very drama-filled and swashbuckling and scheming, but they're also very passionate and dramatic, just like Seahawk. For Mermista, the other character, the one that can control the oceans and water, she is the best one of my favorite characters. I think my favorite character after Double Trouble, because she's so sarcastic. She's so sarcastic. She has the best moments.
You can't transform into She-Ra.
Duh. I'm She-Ra, Princess of the Oceans, obviously.
The way she talks is like so whiny and total LSP energy. And for her, I would recommend Black Sun by Rebecca Roan Horse. I think that Mermista is really going to be able to relate to Ciala in this. She can do this tide magic, and she's from a people called Teak, so she has a very special relationship to the oceans. And in this one, she is a captain that has to sail across the sea, and she's quite unlikable and stubborn. And I think Mermista could really see herself in this character, because they're so similar and so snarky.
Wow, rude much?
And not willing to cooperate, but...
Wait a minute, aren't you supposed to be on watch?
Oh look, the fortress is still there, like it was an hour ago.
Then I have one book recommendation for Madame Razz, and this is How You Lose the Time War by Max Gladstone and Amal El Mohatar. Madame Razz is basically this character, mysterious old woman character, who kind of lives in the forest, pops up throughout the show, and she keeps confusing Adora with the previous She-Ra, and like how she's confusing these timelines, and it almost seems like she lives in all of the timelines all at once. And so I recommend this one, because this is a love story that travels back and forth in time between these 2 agents in the war, but it's ultimately about their relationship, their love. And I think Madame Razz would really appreciate how the messages are left in all these really clever, crooked places all around time and how they're found. And it seems like something Madame Razz would appreciate. She might get a little bit confused on this book, as she does get confused when things go back and forth in the real world too, in her mind. If she can get past the confusion, she's gonna adore this one. The next one I have to recommend too is Frosta. She is the princess who can freeze things. She has the ice power, and to her I would recommend The Lie Tree by Frances Hardinge. So the main reason is because I think Frosta is really going to be able to relate to the main character Faith in this book. So this takes place way back. It's a historical fiction middle grade, and in this time her father is like this scholar, and Faith, our main character, really wants to do what her father does, but because she's a woman, she's not allowed, or a girl, a little girl, she's not allowed to do what her father does and be like apprentice for him, while like other boys can. And in this one there's like stormy weather, there is this drama, there's a bit of magic, and Frosta, she's like this character that she doesn't really want to play the good fight, but she is very stubborn and she wants to be involved, and she eventually gives in to fight the Horde, but she's very resilient in the beginning. And I think she would appreciate the atmosphere in this, and I think she would appreciate like the autonomy and agency that our main character takes back, because Frosta does really feel like the child in She-Ra, and she's not always given like the power, responsibility, and she's treated like a child a little bit, and she absolutely hates it.
Ready, kiddo?
Kiddo? I'm the ruler of my own kingdom. Got it, old man?
And so does the main character in this one. So I think they really relate to each other, and also they're the same age. And another brilliant character, Entrapta. Entrapta is such a lovely character because she is so invested into the mechanics, the science of everything, and she cannot focus on the fact that there's a war going on. She's just so interested in the science. She just wants to do her sciencey stuff, her mechanics stuff, and she keeps forgetting there's a war going on, and she constantly keeps going back and forth on the sides because she doesn't realize she's being kidnapped. She doesn't realize she's working for the resistance because she's just interested in her sciencey stuff.
Entrapta, she's from the Horde. The people the rebellion are fighting? The rebellion you're a part of?
And for her, I have the biggest recommendation is Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This has one of my favorite characters, Avrina Kern. Avrina Kern is this very determined woman who is just so fixated on her experiment, and in this case it's like in this new planet they have found, they're placing spiders down on it and seeing how they evolve. It was supposed to be monkeys, but a mistake is made. Avrina Kern she's one of those people you can't exactly see as a human, and she does eventually turn into a robot, which I think that is pretty much the dream of Entrapta.
Oh, hello. You're very technologically advanced.
So I think she will really like the sciencey parts of this. She kind of will see this as an experiment. Maybe she's gonna take it too literally.
Hey, but it's for science!
Avrina Kern becomes this amazing character because she starts to care so much about her experiment, and you do eventually warm up to her, and I just love Avrina Kern, and I do love Entrapta. Despite their many flaws, they're just very invested in what they're passionate about, and I think that is something both of these can relate to. And I also wanted to recommend Quantum Mechanics by Jeff Weigel, just because it's about two young girls who gets kidnapped and have to be mechanics on this ship.
I'd do anything to go to space! An infinite universe of information at our fingertips, full of countless planets and stars and civilization!
Just for fun, this comic I think would be something that appeals to Entrapta. I would recommend a science book for her, general, but I haven't read it, so I can't. And these two come the closest to characters that she could see herself in and stories she would enjoy that's related to what she's interested in. Because she would not be able to read anything that she's not interested in, let me tell you. The next character is Glimmer, our perfect little princess who can teleport, who is like the center of the Resistance, and I would recommend Witchy for Glimmer, mostly because I think the main character and Glimmer can really relate to each other. So Glimmer has like a quite complicated relationship with her father, who is dead. She kind of lives in his shadow and longs for him, and which I also think this character Nynaeve can relate to. Nynaeve also had a very powerful father, and so does Glimmer, like magic wise. Nynaeve here, she doesn't want to become her father, and they have like a very complicated relationship, and she hides her magic. So like that's a big difference between these two characters, but I think that Glimmer would really like to read a graphic novel about a character who has a father that has like very powerful magic and struggling like with their own relationship to that magic. And I just really think this story is really cute. I think Glimmer definitely reads some cute fantasy with some cute friendships, with a diverse cast of characters in this new fantasy world. I think she would really enjoy it. Next, for Catra, I am going to recommend one of my favorite books of all time, and that is Battle Royale by Kushun Takami. So Catra is also a great character. They're also great characters. Just go and watch She-Ra if you haven't watched it already. So Catra, she puts up this hard front. She acts like she despises Adora. She acts basically the whole time like she's on Lord Prime's side, Horde Prime. She just wants to live in that hate, and I think she also doesn't know how to break out of it because she doesn't know how to deal with her humanity and her vulnerability. And this story is basically about all these teens who's put down on an island and told to kill each other. And I think the premise with something that appeals to Catra, like this, people who have to fight each other, there's a lot of backstabbing, you don't know who to trust. I think that would be a lot of things that she could relate to. But then I also think she would find herself really feeling for these characters and even crying and shedding a tear for the relationships in this story that she was not expecting to feel. And she would definitely lie to all her friends that she cried in this book and would just say that she loved it because of all the blood and all the battle scenes. I actually think she would really love this. And for Beau, our archer intellectual of the three main characters, I would recommend this book to him, The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson. I have to admit, Beau is one of the harder characters to pick a book for. He is very dedicated and super loyal to his friends, and this book doesn't have like a huge emphasis on friendships. But our main character really wants to be a arithmetist and be able to do this magic, but he can't do it, and he's surrounded by people who can, which I do think that Beau can really relate to. He never yearns for magic in that sense, but I always found it surprising that Beau is never angry about the fact that he doesn't have any powers. Like, he's never bitter about it, which is actually some of the things I like about him. So is this a good recommendation? I think still yes, because our main character, Joel, is also studies really hard and wants this really badly, and he's really passionate about the arithmetist and figuring things out and getting to the bottom of things, and all of those things are things I think Beau could relate to. And I also think he would just really like an adventure story with a very likable main character that's a little bit of a know-it-all and puts people in place. So the next person has quite the arc, and that's Horde Prime, who is the most despisable character in the beginning, and things really do take a turn for the weirder. And for him, I would recommend We Are Legion, We Are Bob by Dennis E. Taylor. So this is about a guy who, when he dies, he becomes a computer system, and he's being sent out into all these different spaceships and things. And I think Horde Prime could really use to read this book, especially at the end of his arc, and kind of teach him to see the humor in this bizarre and tragic situation that he is in, where he's basically a clone of this one person. And in this one, there's a lot of Bobs that are all clone of him, but they're all different. And I think Horde Prime could be able to see that he is not the big, I don't remember the name of the big guy just because they're clones, and he is his own person. He does have autonomy, and see it in like a bit of a funny twist sort of way. And also the space part I think he really enjoyed because he has grown up in space, and around technology, and that's also like a big part of this book. Oh, I just realized I forgot quite an important character. So if you watch She-Ra, comment down below which book you'd recommend for Shadow Weaver, because I did forget her, and I feel like she's quite an important person who is there throughout pretty much the whole story. But the last person I would like to recommend 2 comics to is Scorpia. Scorpia, the villain that we don't really see as a villain at all, and we really just love her because she's so oblivious to the fact that Catra doesn't like her back at all, pretty much, and she's so kind and she's so loving and she just wants the best for everyone, and it kind of doesn't really make sense to me that she's on the bad side, if you know what I mean. So I would recommend these 2 comics. This is Making Friends and Seance Tea Party. So both of these have a huge emphasis on friendship and belonging, and they both struggle with change and fitting in. And I think those are all topics that Scorpia really struggles with. She can't read the room. She's really bad at making friends. She can't stop talking, but she's also fiercely loyal and kind of messes things up, which both these characters do, but I think that it would just be so healthy for her to, I don't know, enjoy these like sweet stories with friendships, and they also both show that you don't have to be anyone else but yourself to have friends and be loved, and that you're lovable exactly the way you are. And I love that about both of these. This is also my favorite graphic novel of all time. I think you should check it out. And that is it for this recommendation video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed this cosplay, because now I'm gonna take it all off. Oh my god, I love you, Double Trouble. So thank you guys so much for watching. I wish you all an amazing day. If you want me to do this with any other TV show or cartoon show in particular, comment that down below. Otherwise, comment the little star spoop with a little star at the end emoji if you made it to the end of this video. I wish you all an amazing day, sending y'all so much love, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!